You're watching the 2024 SCAC Fall Media Days. Today, we're taking a look at the Trinity University men's soccer program. Tigers will once again be led as they head into the season under the guidance of head coach Paul McGinlay, along with leadership from J.C. Rule. And Coach J.C., thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Russell. Appreciate you being here.
Coach, we'll open up with you heading into your 34th season as the head coach there of the Trinity men's soccer program. I feel oftentimes we ask student athletes about kind of that reset from one season to another and getting prepared for a new year. But, you know, from a coaching perspective, you're right there with your athletes going through the season, the ups, the downs, the emotional tolls, the physical tolls. You know, so for you, when you get to kind of the end of the year and then that reset button hits for you, what does that process look like for you? I know oftentimes you say a lot of the work, preparation for a season gets done in that summertime. So how do you hit that reset button? What's key for you and getting prepared for new year, and how excited are you just to be back?
Yeah, it's certainly exciting to be back. I mean, 1991 seems like 100 years ago when first got into the SCAC here. But I think that sometimes the reset button gets pressed for you. This summer, we were anticipating the arrival of a couple of our players to have their final season here at Trinity, and for one reason or another, that they're not back, and or at least available for selection. So we started with a couple of key players not being available, and we do have a new group of players. We started a preseason scrimmage few days ago, and talk about the reset button. 3 of last year's consistent starters were on the field, and 8 new faces. So it's getting to know the strengths and weaknesses of the players and who complements each other. It has been the goal of this preseason period, and of course we're only a few days in, so we're still figuring it out. We have our last preseason game tonight, and then we open up against SAA foe Hendricks on Friday. So it's really been an enjoyable time getting to know what we have, and we still have more questions than answers right now. So reset button certainly has been pressed. Oftentimes by me, but by circumstances also, and just looking forward again to another season.
JC, coming into this year, you've been a big part of this program. You look at your career, you've made 58 starts thus far as a Trinity Tiger, played over 60 games, had the opportunity to play 5,000 minutes, for Trinity in your career, all conference, all region selection, a number of individual accolades throughout your time. But coming into this final preseason, what's been your mindset as you approach? Coach talks about a new group. You're one of those veteran leaders he's going to lean on. Is there some urgency, as you approach this preseason? And, ultimately, how excited are you to be back and getting ready to start this final go around as a Trinity Tiger?
I think with it being my final time, honestly, the biggest thing I can say is I've just been smiling every single training session, especially in the preseason. I think this is the most enjoyable preseason and that I've had personally. Just going in like every day, I was just happy to be there. And with the new group of guys, I think it's always exciting to see how everyone meshes together and how well it's been for all of us to be together back training. I think just the vibes and the energy that everyone's brought, it's actually made it just much more enjoyable for me to be able to come in as a leader and kind of get the guys going every single training session. But I think I just had a smile the whole time. And especially with talking to my parents, it's just one last time for them to get to watch me play. So I think I've just enjoyed it more than anything. And there's always a sense of urgency, obviously, to have us ready for this Friday being the first game that counts on the record. But I think it's really just been more relaxing and just a sense of I really just get to enjoy it one last time. And I think I'm just at that point where I'm really just happy to be here more than anything.
Coach, you talk a little about the reset button and getting to know no group. Tell us about this 2024 version of this Tigers soccer program. What have you seen as preseasons unfolded here early? What have been those early returns that give you confidence? And do you feel like these newcomers have adjusted to your program as they start to get prepared for their first season as a Tiger?
Yeah, it's always when you look out in the field and there's no Joe Curry and there's no Jesus Veloz and our players that have graduated from the program and moved on. It's disappointing at times I miss them. I mean, they're players that have been part of our program day in, day out for 4 years. So it's I do miss the faces that aren't here, but I am thrilled with what we do have. We have a very talented group of players. I would say that our depth, JC, is probably as good as it's ever been. And even in tonight's scrimmage, Russell, the big discussion is who to leave out. It's a nice problem to have. And if there's one area of the field where that question is even more difficult, it's the middle. So in the center of the park, we've got a number of different options, and I think that will be a great strength for us going into this year. Not that we're absent talent in all the other areas, but that certainly is an area of strength that we're just looking forward to see who's going to play, where they're going to play, and how long they're going to play.
JC, talk about preseason to this point. What's the mood been like? What have the vibes been like with the boys? How has preseason unfolded just from a team perspective? And what are some things this group's really been focused and working on as you start to get prepared for a new year?
Yeah, I think coming into this preseason, I think everyone had a great attitude. Everyone was willing to work, which made it a lot more easier than to kind of enjoy it more. I think fitness-wise, this is the most fit that we've come in and started training with all the fitness that we've done over the summer. So it's been really great and the vibes have been really good. I think the one thing that I've noticed too is we've had a lot of a senior class graduate the past 2 years. Obviously with COVID, we kind of had a cultural shift from one group to another. So I think with this group that's coming in, it's a lot more younger players that are involved, a lot more new players. So I think it's just given like a fresh perspective on the program itself, which has definitely allowed this preseason to be a lot more different, which is always good for just a team to be able to shift and culturally change as well, which has really helped preseason just been as best as it can be.
Coach, coming into this season, it's a unique year for you and for the Trinity men's program. Obviously, your final year in the SCAC, and you certainly can't write the SCAC men's soccer history without Trinity, without your work, everything that you've accomplished, national title, coaches of the year, plenty of championships. So as you've kind of maybe had some moments of thought to think about that, what has the SCAC meant to you over your time, and knowing that it's kind of this final go around for you in this league, is it something that, motivates you to hopefully make it an extra special one as you get prepared for this season?
Yeah, it's always nice to head down to our locker room, which is where all our collection of hardware from the SCAC is located, and really, really, really proud of our body of work in the conference. I've had so much admiration for the teams that we've played and the coaches that we've come up against, and fortunately, the dressing room is not absent of trophies from past years, but the only one that really matters is the one that's in front of us now. So it is, we're approaching it. No, I don't think there's any real regret or anything that we're moving into this final season. I think it's really like every other one. We want to try and do our best and perform daily in practice and try and have good outcomes with our games. Having said that, there's been a lot of good players and a lot of good teams in this league since I first got here in 1991, and all it's doing, Russell, is getting better each year. There's some players in our conference and a variety of different schools that are just extra special players, and the teams have gotten stronger, and the coaches are just professionals in their own right. So I'll certainly miss it. I mean, we'll still look to schedule games against conference teams, but what's in front of us right now is what's most important. And reflecting back on the past will be something that I'll do in late December.
And JC, as we wrap up with you, as you've had some conversations with some of the leaders within this group and your teammates about some of the goals and expectations coming into this year, what have those conversations looked like? And ultimately, what is going to be key for this group in accomplishing those heading into the season?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things we talked about with a couple of leader groups and instilling in the mindset of a couple of the players is that we've talked about when we say during training is to leave no doubt. So at least for right now, every single goal is tonight against St. Mary's with the scrimmage, and obviously Friday. And each goal is just each individual game. And from there, we go to obviously then conference, and then hopefully all the way into November, December, playing for a national championship. But from there, it's just to leave no doubt. And with that, it's just if you as a player, you have your own goal in the individual game, is that if you gave everything that you have, and you're walking off that pitch and you can barely walk because you're so tired and you need someone else to help you carry you off. And obviously as a leader, we'll always do that for you. But if you have that mindset that you gave everything into that game, and every minute that you played on the pitch, whether it be 10, 20, 90 minutes, I think that's the biggest thing. And that's an individual goal that we have for each player to feel throughout the year. And we've talked about that with a couple of the leader guys to be able to instill that and make sure that everyone's on the right mind to do it.
And finally, Coach, as we wrap up with you, I think one of the great things about sport is the measurement of success comes in so many different ways. We obviously have, wins and losses and statistics, which are pretty black and white, but then beyond kind of the field and of the lines of field. And so when you talk about success with your program and your student athletes, what is that message that you try and deliver? And ultimately, this season, this group, it looks successful if what plays out over the course of this course.
Well, everything we do on a daily basis is towards two goals. Russell, it's to graduate and to win. So what we attempt to do is to, with those two big goals, is to work through them every day and try to achieve both. It's always heartwarming to watch graduation every year. I've seen 33 years of seniors walk across the stage. I've had some influence in them arriving at Trinity, and then so that the real measurement is to see them walk across the stage and graduate. But what we do on a daily basis is so important, and I think when I speak with the alumni, they just miss the experience of being on a team, training, traveling, competing, and in some cases, well, in most cases, winning, which is what we're attempting to do, and we can't deny that. But the process is critical, and once again, I just feel like I'm fortunate to be around a new group of players, and with that, a new group of coaches. So Peter Blank has joined us on staff, along with Austin Willman, two recent graduates. And then we've been fortunate enough to hire Matthew Kirk from UNC Charlotte, and he's brought a different vibe to preseason, and his enthusiasm and his is infectious, and that's been a really nice addition to our preseason period.
Trinity University head men's soccer coach Paul McGinlay, along with leadership from John Connor Rule, the Tigers will open up the 2024 campaign when they take on Hendricks at home on August 30th. Coach John Connor, thanks so much for your time today, and best of luck as you head into the season.
Appreciate you, Russell. Thank you.